created such wonderful projects that involve a community and are an expression of your work. And where do you get your inspiration? And then how do you make it work? Because the organization around this must be incredible.
Well, I went back to school to get my master's degree when I was in my 50s.
Yeah.
And I went back for a fiber arts, in fibers. But in the course of that, I took a class called Art and Community.
Mm-hmm.
And that class was all about what's called social engagement or social practice. And it's really artists that are doing work that engage the public. And so I didn't know what I was going to do in that project, but I realized the tradition of fiber arts really is about community, because when you think about, groups like yours,
Yeah.
knitting circles, quilting bees, have always gotten together and made and talked and shared ideas. And so, and then there's also this idea in fiber arts of accretion, like there's always repetitive. One stitch after the other finally makes a sweater,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this idea of repetitive motion in a weave or embroidery or knitting or crochet, and the accretion of all that manual work creates a bigger whole. So that idea I'm using to actually engage lots of people for a larger whole. And I do like to make, but these are the projects that really feed my soul. I feel sometimes like when I make a lot, I'm kind of isolated in my own head and how that feels.
Yeah.
And when I try and do these kind of projects, it just broadens my awareness of how many people are out there just creating amazing things, and also the generosity of people to just get involved.
Yeah.
I'm just floored by it. The network of people that seems to be attracted to the projects that I organize is just an amazing group of people. They're just great human beings. So I'm just excited to make that connection, even as tenuous as it is. I mean, every time I get an email from you guys, it touches my heart, because it's somebody that's sitting somewhere that's made that commitment to sign up. And then when I get your squares, I'll show you. I think I've been telling you that big pile over there are squares waiting to be opened, because I'm waiting for 2 weeks to open the packages.
Smart.
Just to be safe.
Yeah.
So every day is like Christmas. I have a package or two every day that I get to open up.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, some of the other projects that you've done just warm my heart. I mean, the one about, we as a fiber guild have done hats for the homeless and scarves for the homeless, but your 13 Fridays project took that to a whole other level. I mean, I just love the community involvement and working together on the hats at the soup kitchen or wherever you were. It just is beautiful. And the one that you did with the recycled projects.
That was awesome.
Oh, the flowers and giving them to the workers who are never thanked. That was beautiful. How'd you come up with that?
Well, that one was a result, believe it or not, I was hired to be an artist in residence at the dump, of all things, right? By the city of Phoenix. And so I think their vision was, we're going to find all these cool materials and make stuff, which I did. I did make some things, but what moved me when I went, we all did a tour, and it was these people, they're standing there 8 hours a day at this long conveyor belt, and they're sorting through the trash that we
Wow.
make every day. And I thought, that's my project. That's the project I want to do, is to focus on these people that are doing this for a living. So I don't know. I just try it. I think what's important is developing the framework so that it comes for full circle. The violet protest was really in my head for a couple of years, but not exactly in this iteration. I was thinking purple. I was thinking, people would make squares and we'd send them, and then other people would connect them all together. But I didn't really, I didn't get what the end game was. And then I thought, well, let's just send these squares to Congress. I mean, that's what we really want, right?
Yeah.
So and then rather than the purple, the red and blue coming together. So the gestalt of it is the idea of it being violet, but it doesn't really matter if it looks purple to the eye. What matters is the idea that the idea of the word violet I liked because it was one letter away from violent.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. You have to be very careful Googling you because it wants to bring up violence.
I know, right? I know. Yeah, I've searched on Instagram and you can get a lot of imagery, but I kind of like that play on words. I practiced as a graphic designer for about 35 years. So the idea of words and graphics, all those things go into the work that I do. When I make like the Violet Protest logo, that's all just kind of coming from my past life as a graphic designer.
Perfect.
So
perfect.
But I do love fiber arts. I don't know what it is about fiber arts. There's a lot of graphic designers that have gone into fiber arts or vice versa. It's weird. I don't know why. There is a digital connection because, fiber arts is always pixelated. If you're, stepping up to make a diagonal or a circle, and that's exactly how images are created on the computer, is through pixels. They're just a lot tinier.
Right, that's right, yeah.
If I were to send my little granddaughters, who are 5 and 3, some felt squares and some fabric glue, could they just cut things out and participate?
Yes, I have. I didn't pull them today, but I have 2 felt squares that were made by a 6 and 4-year-old girl. And they're sewn. They're actually sewn, but you can also use glue. Just somehow, when I've tried to glue felt in the past, I think there's a special glue you get because felt is so absorbent. It doesn't take the glue that well. The other thing, Kathleen, is we have a partnership going with Parisville Designs. Some of you might be aware of that.
Right.
It's on the website, and they, the pot holders we all made when we were kids, well, they have a loom that's a little bigger, and it just happens to make an 8x8 square.
Well, that's what Kate used, I think. That's Kate. She's showing you. Yeah.
Yay! Oh yes, Kate. I think I
So
saw.
they also have the loops because that might be, certainly the 5-year-old could do the loops. I don't know if the 3-year-old could.
Yeah, it might be a little hard.
This is the 10-inch loom from Harrisville. And yes, I ordered a bag of red and a bag of blue. It does get difficult near the end, but that's where a parent could come in. And with I ran out of for the 5th one. It only made enough for 4, I guess. So I took I took my t-shirts. I took t-shirts. I took more t-shirts and some loops I had left and made this last one. So yeah, I love, and I tag Harrisville every time too. They're
Great.
a wonderful place.
Yeah, they are.
They are. Well, they've put together a special violet protest package.
Oh,
So
nice.
you get the loom, and you get 3 bags of red and 3 bags of blue, and it's a discount, and they'll ship it free anywhere in the continental United States.
So
Oh,
you think
that's
a 5-year-old
wonderful.
could manage that?
The 5-year-old for sure. The 3-year-old might become frustrated,
Yeah.
but they could certainly glue. The other thing that I have is this
love to cut.
tutorial on the website, and I've cut up old jeans, and I iron on the sticky iron-on stuff,
Yeah.
and then you can just stick on fabric, lay the fabric on and then iron it on. That's another way
Yeah.
where they could arrange the squares, and then an adult could iron it on for them. So, and then you could take it on a sewing machine and sew over it, or do anything you want.
Trying to come up with things they can pretty much do on their own, because they live 3,000 miles away, so I can't help. And mom and dad are working full time with them at home.
Yeah, that's a
I don't want
lot.
to ask mom and dad to have to add something.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you could have them arrange it and then take a photo of it and send it back, and you can sew it.
Yeah. Someone,
I'll think about it.
Yeah. I was in Pittsburgh yesterday,
Ah.
and someone showed me a square that their grandchild did, but it was all buttons. It was gorgeous, but the child picked out the fabric. She picked out all the buttons and beads and put them in place, and then the grandma sewed it all together for her. But yeah, felt's definitely a good way to go there.
Yeah.
I have a basic question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where do we put these? These are
Well-
the tags. Where do they go?
Oh, you can see those better than what I had. Oh, you
Well,
white.
I use silver pen.
Yeah, that was
But
good.
where
Well,
do
I
we
like, yeah, that's great that you found that silver pen. Honestly, when I ordered these, they looked a lot lighter than this online, but then I ordered 28,000, and they were not about to exchange them for me. So, but I'm just suggesting that you sew them on the back side with the purple side up, so that when you see the right side, it kind of comes out like that.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Does that make
mine.
Yeah, that's your,
It doesn't matter if it's the bottom or the top.
no, it doesn't matter. Because I know, if the top is important to you, you might put a little piece of tape on it or something. Because right now the rendering shows the squares being stacked in the letters US. But we may end up doing just covering a wall with these squares so that they're all
Open. Yeah.
open, which I almost kind of like better. And then the US we might do a kind of a bump out, so we still have that grid of the US, but that all the squares are just out on the wall. So if top and bottom is important, you might mark it so that we know.
Okay.
So that's a good idea. Marcy, who had a doctor's appointment, couldn't join us, but she was wondering how thick the fabric had to be, and does it have to have a backing on it if it's thin? Does it have to be muslin weight or heavier?
Yeah. Well, like Susie, yours are, airy,
Yeah,
but they
they
have
are.
weight to them. They to me, they hold their own. There are some that I've gotten some quilted, sorry, my dogs are wrestling in the back. They've quilted the top, but they didn't put it on anything. So I'm actually putting them on something if I get those.
Okay.
So let's say you screen printed something and you end up with just a very thin piece of cotton.
Mm-hmm.
I think just so that it holds its own with the rest of the squares, it would be nice to probably back it. and you could just zigzag around the edge. You don't
Okay.
have to do a fancy hemming or anything like that. But I think just think in terms of, you know, this stack, and if you have a really, see, Susie, yours are holding their own because they've got a stiffness to them.
Yeah, it's that jute.
But
Yeah.
If it were just a piece of cotton, you
Yeah.
can see how it would just get lost.
Right.
So I don't want anything to get lost. That's all. So I'm suggesting that you put some kind of a backer or something if it ends up that your piece is really thin.
That's
My fabric ones, I had, because I had some felt and had some corduroy and I wasn't going to the store, I just cut that and zigzagged it, and that gave it some
Yeah,
balance,
corduroy
as
and
well
felt.
as covered the back of the piece.
Yeah. No, I think it doesn't take much really to make it feel more substantial.
okay.
Um,
We'll
like
share
I
that with
have-
her.
let me get this one piece.
I feel like my crocheted ones were a little floppy, but they're thick.
This piece here was just painted,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's just a piece of cotton. And I think I'm actually gonna back it, just so it doesn't get lost in the shuffle.
Okay.
Because it's actually kind of an interesting
It's beautiful.
square, but it feels, you know, it feels pretty thin. So
Are you
And I
a
don't-
one
I don't
person
wanna-
show?
ruin the integrity of someone's work. That's my only
Yeah.
reservation, but I also want it to stand out.
Right.
So I'm
And
sorry. Yes.
are you a one person show?
Mostly, I have a gal in Minnesota actually that handles the database, and then I have another gal that stuffs stamps and stuffs all the
okay.
envelopes.
Wow.
So when
good.
I send out to you, all I have to do is, I really want to write my hand note, even as short as it is. I want to write you a handwritten note. So I do that and I address it, but it's all stamped, it's all stuffed. She does a pile of 10s, 5s, 1s, and 2s. So I just have to grab from there. So the database, you know, once you sign up on Sign Up Genius, then she can flood that information into a spreadsheet on Google Sheets. And that's what I use to send out to everybody. And then that list can then be flooded into MailChimp, where that's where the newsletter comes from. And I hope you're getting your newsletter.
Yeah.
No,
I
not
know.
yet.
Mail? No.
You will,
No,
Diane.
Email.
Yeah,
Email? I don't think I've gotten it that way either.
I'm trying to keep it to once a month because I know how many emails are going out these days. But it's really my only connection to all of you at once. If I have, like, it's extending the deadline or, you know, suggesting these Zoom groups, I try and have maybe 3 or 4 pieces of news for the month.
That's great.
So look,
So
watch
we're
for those.
not
A
getting
lot of
it?
time it's going into junk mail
Okay.
sometimes. Yeah.
Kathy, you're not getting it?
Mm-mm.
When did you sign up, Kathleen?
Oh, gosh, let's see. Originally, I signed up
It's been months.
months.
Yeah.
Even
Well-
the second time, because I've sent all my 10 squares. And I signed up for 5 and then I signed up for 5 more.
Well, I would check your, I will go into my database now and make sure you're in there, but there's no reason why you wouldn't be. So I would check your junk mail and just see. 'Cause
Right.
it
One
comes
thing
from-
that could happen is my email address is Kathleen E. Hodges.
Yeah.
Sometimes people leave out that middle initial E.
Well, this floods into whatever you entered is what gets
Okay,
entered.
so they would be a copy and paste then, right? Because I have gotten emails. I've gotten emails from you.
Yes, but you should be getting like it's more of a, I don't know how to describe it. It's more formulated when you get
Right.
it. It's got the logo at the top and a
I'll
picture.
go
and-
look at my junk mail.
Yeah, maybe, but check that and then email me, and I'll make sure you're, make sure you're in the list.
I'll forward you one, Kathy, so you know what to be looking for.
Thanks, Kate. I appreciate that.
And then what I also did on the suggestion of a maker is I put an archive of all the newsletters on the news page of the website.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you can
Okay.
click on that and see all the past newsletters.
You're
Wow,
very
wow,
well
wow.
organized.
Yeah.
We are
She's
very
not that
impressed.
good. Huh? I'm sorry?
We're very
Say that-
impressed how organized you
Oh.
are.
Yes.
Oh, thanks.
Unbelievable.
Well, that comes from my graphic design career, I think.
And the course you talked about.
just for a second, Kate, we have less than a minute. So
Oh.
if we want to continue, we can go out and come back in again. And some of us may want to do that. I don't know about Ann, if you have the time.
I
To
can
do
do
that.
that.
Okay, come back into this same one.
Right. So what we have to do is end this one and then just click on the same one again.
The link again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right. See you in a
That's
bit.
Yeah.